The Volunteer Army took to Brisbane parks today to continue the clean-up for the second weekend after the flood. Many homeowners are still in the thick of the mud, and the state government has acknowledged it'll need to bend the rules to ensure asset-rich, cash-poor residents qualify for some emergency payments. It's 10 days since the floodwaters rose, and more problems are emerging along the river, meaning some areas will be off limits for months.
They came to reclaim the parks from the mud, strangers on the end of shovels in the baking sun.
You just can't help not do something. I don't believe so. Hold your hand on your heart and say, well, I put my 2 bobs worth in.
People travelled from as far as the Sunshine Coast to answer the call to adopt a park.
They need the parks and need some normality in their lives, and so being able to go to the public places will allow them to have that.
But there's concern that some parks are too dangerous. Sections of the riverbank have been undercut by the flood and are subsiding.
There is potential as the floodwaters go down for significant bank slippage across the Brisbane River, right from west at Moggle all the way down through the city reaches.
At flood-devastated homes, the marathon clean-up is continuing. A staggering 120,000 tonnes of flood-damaged material has already been put into landfill.
Without your help, I couldn't do this. And as I say, I don't have family here, and thank you.
I remember ripping wallpaper off and you see a hook and you think there was a family portrait there, and that's pretty hard to see that.
A new grant of $5,000 is available for people to have essential utilities like power inspected and repaired. The government says there's a raft of disaster funds available and people struggling with cash flow should apply.
And we're certainly prepared to bend the rules a little bit too. So, if you're just over that line a little bit with your income, we're certainly prepared to consider that.
Councillors, Centrelink advisors and other government agencies have been kept busy at one-stop shops. For many, the reality that they're in for the long haul is only now apparent. This is the 12th day this community centre has been up and running, providing 3 meals a day and essential items to those in need, people without power and whose homes are still in the thick of the clean-up. Insurers have again been reminded of their responsibilities. Brisbane's Lord Mayor says in many cases they've been spared expenditure by volunteers and homeowners who've cleaned and removed debris.
That's why I think they can afford to be generous in the current circumstances.
The federal government wants insurers to work with the ACCC to put flood definitions in plain English.
One way we can keep faith of all the Australians who've been affected by these tragic and disastrous floods is to get insurance right in the future.
That clarification can't come soon enough, with a low off far north Queensland.
There is every chance that this low could form into a cyclone over the next day or two. So we're watching that very closely.
More weather to monitor for a state that's already had enough. Donna Field, ABC News, Brisbane.